Okay people, so I'm coming into this video and I'm going to start it off before anything and tell you guys that I don't believe there is any way possible for Naruto's final form to be his death blow. Let's carry on. So if you've been following the Boruto manga up until this point, the latest chapter as of the recording of this video, 51, then you know that it has been insane and the latest events and the latest foreshadowing has been very, very dark and foreboding. Basically, Naruto is entering his quote-unquote final form and is seemingly going to die due to the nature of the form after the conversation that he had with Kurama about, hey, we need some power, we need an ace in the hole, and Kurama brought forth this idea. But what is this final form? What's going on with it? Like, where did it come from? What's up with it? Is Naruto actually going to die? There's been a whole bunch of controversy surrounding this form, and I mean in general, it's, you know, a character that is so highly regarded and beloved. Naruto, the thought of him dying is just a very, very heartbreaking thing, and this final form, as epic as it's been showcased, because again, we haven't seen the entirety of it, we've seen a bit of it, we've seen the side of his face, and it's been a lot of fog and smoke surrounding him up until, again, when we get the next chapter. But let's talk a little bit about Naruto's final form and his tragic demise that has been foreshadowed along with it.
I say we gonna do what we do, no matter how you move, make your move. That's how it be though.
Okay, so let's be honest here. Since the very first chapter of Boruto, since the very first episode of Boruto, we've had that line that has been lingering. I've mentioned it countless times in different videos surrounding the series, surrounding the franchise, that Kawaki says to Boruto when they're having that epic battle on the Hokage Monument, I'm going to send you the way of the seventh. We've covered that many, many times now. So that's been something that we've been waiting for a while now, right? Now, here's the big question, right? If Naruto is truly going to die due to the events of this form or whatever, for starters, you gotta ask if Kawaki is truly cognizant of who he is at that particular point and he hasn't been taken over by Ishiki, and there's no proof to showcase that he has been at that point in the very beginning, that foreshadowing of what's to come, then that would mean that in order for this to make sense, for Naruto to be sent whatever way he was sent, that would have to be Kawaki that does it. So does Kawaki become a traitor? Like, there's a lot of things you got to put and factor into what's about to happen, because if this is Naruto's final hoorah, then how is it going to make sense? Because that is one of the things where I feel as though not necessarily they wrote themselves into a hole, but that is pigeonholing them down to a certain degree, the fact that they have to connect that very first chapter of Boruto to whatever is going to happen to Naruto. So there's a couple of different arguments here. You could argue that Kawaki, because even though right now he lost the karma mark, he is not involved in the battle of Naruto, Sasuke, and Boruto versus Ishiki Otsutsuki, he eventually is going to be a part of it, or something along the lines is going to happen to have him involved, because the whole premise of the Boruto story is Boruto and eventually his battle and his rivalry and all that stuff that's supposed to come with Kawaki. So how is it going to make sense? That's something right there that immediately makes me wonder, is Naruto really going to die? Because even if, let's just say, okay, this is somehow going to be his death, right? It's going to somehow correlate to Kawaki or whatever. It still wouldn't be that Kawaki sent him anywhere. Naruto using that final form doesn't have anything to do with Kawaki sending him any which way. So it could definitely be a multitude of different things. Again, Kawaki is probably going to, at some given point, want to stop all of this. Like, he has a certain level of admiration and affection towards the Hokage, Naruto. So I think that pretty soon, within the next chapter 2, Kawaki is going to show up to the battlefield. It'll be really, really dark, to be honest with you, and this is where I'm imagining the series has to go, again, in order to connect to that very first event, where Kawaki says to Boruto, I'm gonna send you the way of the seventh. No matter what happens with this final form, whether it's like that it's a bomb, which I don't think it'll be a bomb, because we already seen like a bomb-esque type of technique that Naruto tried to use in the Boruto Naruto the movie stuff against Momoshiki. So it's not going to be a bomb. It could very well be something along the lines of maybe like 8 gates with Guy, maybe using his life energy, and you know, that's how it's going to kill him, because you know, you use your life energy, then you got no fucking life energy, you die. Or it could also be that, essentially, think the ceremony to release a tailed beast from a Jinchuriki that kills them, right? So it could also be something similar to that, where basically he's going to have to release X amount of Kurama, maybe not the entirety of him, because then obviously he'd be free into the world, but it'll be a certain amount to the point where that would also kill Naruto, because even though Naruto has a ridiculous amount of chakra, including of course having access to Kuramas, that doesn't mean that he can't die. So that's also something that can be explored in terms of like, you expend X amount of it, it's just the same thing as releasing the tailed beast from the Jinchuriki host. But again, either way, that's one of the major things why I'm saying that Naruto cannot die this way, because it has to be something that Kawaki sent him somewhere, unless Kawaki is just very confused and they lied to Kawaki this entire time of what happened to Naruto. So here's an idea here. It could be that Kawaki never understands. They never give him the full truth of what happens to Naruto here. He dies and they tell Kawaki something else and Kawaki thinks it's his fault. It could be that Kawaki is blaming himself. I'm gonna send you the way of the seventh. Maybe Kawaki is going to blame himself in terms of like, if only I would have went along with the plan. So it could be something along the lines of that as well. It could be that Kawaki shows up out of nowhere and he's like, yo, just stop it, and then again blames himself. So it has to be something with Kawaki. It's not going to be, that is one of the big things that I feel as though you could get from this video, in terms of, unless they're going to do a Deus Ex Machina, they can't have Naruto die using that form, because again, it just wouldn't make sense. Not to mention, again, that Kawaki isn't even there. Something has to happen where Kawaki has to send Naruto somewhere, whether it's to the fucking grocery store or something. He has to be sent somewhere in order for that dialogue to make sense. So Naruto probably won't die using this final form against Ishiki Otsutsuki. Maybe he could be seriously injured, or maybe it could be to the point where he is ready to die, he's just about to die, and Kawaki shows up, maybe somehow, some way gets the karma mark again. Maybe it's not completely gone from his body. That could be a mistake on Amado's part, and bam, Kawaki sends him to another dimension, and that's the end of it. Or Kawaki makes people think that he killed Naruto in order to go along with Ishiki to protect Konoha, and in reality, again, he sent him somewhere. So it could be something along the lines of that, but yeah, Naruto more than likely isn't going to die from this epic final form, which again, from what we've seen so far, it looks insane. It's probably going to be something along the lines of 8 gates, not necessarily, again, a bomb, because they used that in the Momoshiki fight, but probably something either using his life energy or expending X amount of Kurama's chakra, which would essentially be the equivalent to the Jinchuriki host losing the Jinchuriki. But I'm very curious what a lot of you guys think about this theory. Do you think that more than likely it means that Naruto can't die? Like, above all else, let's just be clear here as well, above all else, Naruto, you got to think of it in terms of the franchise and things of that nature. Like, are Shueisha and them really going to allow their prized mascot for the franchise, Naruto, to die? That's something that, yeah, it could be a very ballsy move. It could be a very, very risky situation and they go full force with it. But I gotta be skeptical here and say, like, yo, no matter how many times they tried to kill off Goku with Dragon Ball, which is like kind of one of its, you know, contemporaries essentially, or in terms of like, you know, its popularity and whatnot worldwide, they never did. Dragon Ball's brought him back time and time again. They probably won't allow that to happen, but either way, it just wouldn't make sense. He cannot die from this form. And then Kawaki used that line of, I'm gonna send you the way of the seventh. Where the fuck did he send the seventh? And what are your expectations in terms of this form? We are gonna definitely see Naruto rock in the new form. We're gonna see some epicness. We're gonna see him probably kick the living crap out of Ishiki Otsutsuki, and he's going to have to do something. Maybe he's going to take Sasuke as a hostage, and then Kawaki again is going to show up. He's gonna trick or threaten somebody to take him to the battlefield, or Naruto is still going to take the L, maybe be on death's door, not necessarily die. Ishiki is going to show up to get Kawaki, and something there is going to happen where Kawaki is again going to bargain with Ishiki to leave the village alone for the time being, at the very least. And again, let's not forget that he's going to have to leave it for the time being, because there's going to be a buffer between, assuming that the karma mark doesn't immediately return for Kawaki, for him to place the mark on Kawaki, and that's how we're going to get the time skip, unless Ishiki dies here and now and it leads Kawaki to his vengeance. Like, a lot of things to unpack with this one, but the biggest thing to take away is he cannot die from this mode, because it would make zero sense to what Kawaki says after the time skip. And your overall thoughts and expectations for the Boruto manga with 52 and beyond. How the hell this is all going to play out with Naruto's final form. I ain't gonna lie, this has been one of the most hype moments of the manga thus far, and I can't freaking wait. But that's all I have for this one. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule. Anime and manga for life, boy. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and this is crazy. Naruto's final form. But I'm telling you, people, I don't think that will kill him. He can die, but Kawaki has to have a part in it in order for the beginning, the first episode, first chapter, to make sense.
It's nights like this, and times like this,
What's that?
that I can give another hit. But I've got this inside a switch, a natural